Welcome back. We are taking a legal deep dive into two cases that have really grabbed the attention of the Valley. The first one is Preston Lord. The 16-year-old died when he was badly beaten after a Halloween party. Last week, the Queen Creek Police Department announced they submitted charges against 7 people in Lord's case. Police still have not released any more info on the names, ages, or specific charges against those 7. And just yesterday, the Gilbert Police Chief announced that they will continue to increase patrols in high-traffic areas frequented by teens. So let's get inside the mind and the motive. Joining me once again is psychologist Dr. Katherine Kuhlman. You've got 2 communities here, Queen Creek and Gilbert, both on edge. Both are fearful for the neighborhood, the community, their kids. How do you address these fears? Because let's face it, crime could happen anywhere, right? So how do you not only address the fears, but protect kids?
Well, you're right. I think it's very easy when you live in communities that tend to be very safe. And let's face it, Queen Creek and Gilbert, arguably 2 of the safest communities within the Valley. And when there is such a crime wave like this, and we tend to become complacent. We go to the grocery store, we don't watch our bags, we don't think about who's around us all the time. And so you're right, crime happens everywhere and people need to be vigilant about their surroundings. It doesn't mean they have to be hyper vigilant. It just means that situational awareness is very important.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, there's this mentality of a group think. In this particular case, police believe that a group attacked Preston Lord. So explain this whole groupthink mentality versus a single-handed murder.
2 very different scenarios. So groupthink is a psychological concept that has been around for decades, if not centuries. And this is what we see in gangs, this is what we see in cults, and even conspiracy theorists. And the idea is that there is a leader and there are followers, and everybody comes to the same consensus that they must follow the leader. They feel invulnerable, they stereotype an outgroup. So in this case, victims, that's how they choose their victims.
Yeah.
And that's also the reason why they don't rat on each other. It took so long for people to find each other because they were so encompassed in this one group. And it'll be really interesting as this investigation continues and as investigators learn more about the individuals who are involved, because that leader will start to rise. People are going to start to talk behind closed doors.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's still so many layers to this case and still so much that we don't know. All right, let's move on to our second case, Lauren Heike. 29-year-old Heike was killed last April near 64th Street and Mayo Boulevard in North Phoenix after she was stabbed to death while hiking. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office is now seeking the death penalty against Zion Teasley, who's accused of murdering her. Teasley was on probation at the time of the alleged murder, which stemmed from armed robberies he committed in 2020. Police records show Teasley faced 13 charges, including kidnapping, burglary, armed robbery, and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison, followed by probation as part of a plea deal, but got out earlier because of credit for time served. All right, so Katherine, prior to Heike's murder, if Teasley is found guilty, I mean, looking back at, the past record, weren't these a lot of red flags?
They're assuming that he is the one that did commit this crime. There is a history there. And, you mentioned his prior convictions, but there's more than that in his history. And you see this escalation over time. He was, I don't know if he was kicked out of Marine boot camp, but he left boot camp early. So who knows if he was a medical issue or maybe he got in trouble. There's a history of, making aggressive comments towards women at work, of stealing, what you mentioned. And so assuming this is true, that he was the one that murdered Lauren,
right,
where this is an absolute escalation. And so hindsight's 2020. We can look back and see that this was happening, but I think we have to be vigilant about when we see red flags now.
Speaking of which, let's broaden this out when it comes to identifying concerning behaviors, right? There's this field of threat assessment. Tell me about that and how that works to kind of identify, to prevent tragedies from happening.
So the field of threat assessment was actually established by the United States Secret Service to identify threats and to protect presidents and dignitaries. And it has since expanded itself. And the idea is that we have multidisciplinary teams. So this could be county attorneys' offices, human services, mental health, probation, school officials, if a corporation,
a whole community,
HR, legal counsel, is that a lot of times people notice concerning behaviors in a silo, but no one ever talks.
Yeah.
And so in a case like this, we might have had probation, we might have had what happened in the jail, we might have had his Marine Corps record, we might have had what his mom saw, social media, blasted with tons of information. And so the idea is that if we can engage in multidisciplinary teams like this, we have the opportunity to prevent tragedies.
Yeah, it's like the right hand trying to talk to the left hand. They need to communicate. Yeah. All right, Katherine, thank you so much.